Hi everyone. What languages do you guys usually use at home?
Hi, good afternoon, miss. I use some Guyanese Creoles in my home, so that's basically what my family talks, speaks at home.
Okay, for me, I speak Curly's as well, and everyone in my home also speaks Curly's. I live with my mom and my spouse, and both of them speak Curly's.
Good afternoon. I also speak an Armenian language, which is Akawayo. I am a single parent family, no wife but a child. So we do exchange our dialect, which is Akawayo, and we also translate it into English. Is mostly that we're using it in the community.
Okay.
Okay, sir. So,
Well, I mostly speak Creoles at home, my parents and everybody else. So that is mainly the language used at home.
yes, so yeah, basically all of us we speak the Guyanese Creoles. So, sir, just asking a question. You can like say speak in your dialect. You can translate it in Creoles or English, if that okay with you.
Okay, like let's say for instance, when you're reaching or when you wake up in the morning, right? We normally say Rabenai, Rabenai. It's good morning in Akawayo.
Okay.
Okay.
Arabia Bagaznai. Arabia Bagaznai is how you wake up this morning. Yeah, that's one of
Okay, so your entire family, you guys would speak just the Amerindian language, or you would also speak Creoles and the Amerindian language as well?
yes, it is both Creoles and Akawayo. We also sometimes we practice Portuguese too, one time.
Okay, so you would
Because
switch
we
it
move
up.
so most people around in our community is mixed race people out around. But we are Armenians.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
Okay, nice. So, what about the attitude to these languages in your home?
Okay. I feel I feel proud speaking Akawayo because this is remembered as our main dialect or language, and we practice it, and it's been going to generations, right? So it's I'm proud of we're still keeping our tradition and our culture.
Okay, sir. Yeah, I feel for me for our Creoles that we speak at home, I'm proud of it. It allows me to give information or to give instruction to my kids. They understand it better rather than you speaking to them fluent English. Yeah, so for me, the Guyanese Creoles or the Creoles that we speak, I'm comfortable with it at home, even though that we have to accommodate one when we go in the classroom. So I believe, yeah, for me, the Creoles at home, I appreciate it in Zoom.
Okay, so for me, feel like Kurdish, I can speak more freely and more comfortable because that is what I've been speaking my entire life. Um, and I don't know if anyone would have experienced this before, but in my home, sometimes, you would say something in a Kurdish accent. And then, well, for me, my mom might correct me and tell me the correct or the proper way to say something. But it's just that that's how we would normally speak in Kurdish accent. And my mom doesn't speak standard English. So it's like kind of funny. And I think that would be kind of like a negative attitude towards the um the language in a way. Because remember, like basically that's our language that we grew up speaking. But then sometimes persons might correct you and tell you, to speak properly. Not only in homes, but sometimes you might find it in schools or in other places as well too. Persons might be correcting you when you say something in Creolese. Has anybody ever experienced that before? Or maybe even corrected somebody else? Maybe your child or
Yes, for me, my little son, my child, the little one, sometimes he do not speak really fluently, so sometimes he use we say the rock release, and sometimes I corrected him, but then after like a few minutes again, he switched right back to it. So yeah, that's how it goes. Because it's because right around us, my father and my sisters and so on, they speak the Creolese. Yeah, so they're learning it right there.
yeah. I think that that's kind of a negative attitude toward the language because remember that's what we're accustomed to. And most persons would think that we shouldn't speak like that, but I don't necessarily agree with that because that's our language basically. And we should not just speak standard English or just speak another language.
Yes, I agree too.
But as Sir would have mentioned, he speak other languages as well. So maybe he grew up speaking the Amerindian language. So he would use whatever he feels more comfortable with. Right? Now what about language outside the home? What languages do you guys usually use like at school or at work or any other place?
Well, for me, I try my best to use standard English, though my Creolese is the first thing I think about. But I do use it because some parents do come and speak in Creolese. At my workplace, you have parents coming speaking Spanish. I don't know what they're telling me, but you have to use Google Translate. But mostly standard English. Try my best to do that part.
Okay, yeah. At my workplace, I speak standard English as well. Um, when I'm speaking to my students, I would use a mix of standard English and also Creolese. But most of them, obviously, I teach grade 1, so my children they don't speak standard English. They would speak in Creolese. So I think for them to understand me properly, I would have to speak the way that they do. But with my colleagues and so on, we would normally mostly speak in standard English, but it's not all the time. Um, yeah.
Yeah, for me, like if I'm visiting another school or going on tours and so on, I will tend to use standard English to speak to the other teachers. Or if we go in like to the department or some other admin building and so on, like for respect's sake, we speak standard. I speak standard English. Or my colleagues in school, or well, most of us we use standard English while we're teaching. I mix them, but when we're talking to each other because we're here, most of us speak the Creolese to each other, so we understand that. But when we go to teach and so on, we use the standard.
Yeah. So normally we would speak standard English, but sometimes like at lunchtime, if we're just together and we just yapping, we would normally speak in Creolese. Or like if we have like a social or we go to have lunch or something, we wouldn't speak in standard English. We would just speak in Creolese.
Yeah.
I for me, I quite agree with that standard English that we do speak in our workplaces, right? But in times like these here, there are some children right around in our classes or even at church. We'll find like in my area, then they are not so accustomed with these the standard English that we are practicing at school. So to express themselves, they still have to, or we do still use our Creolese, or to explain
Oh,
certain sentences, or words. It's a bit tough out in our area.
okay. So what about the teachers in your school? Do they also speak the Amerindian language as well? And would you guys usually communicate with that language?
Yes, there are children, right, coming from a poor background. When I say like poor background, like they are now coming to learn these, like, let me say, like, the language that we are practicing, the standard language. Remember,
Okay,
they are coming from a broken place, like from, I would call it, from their traditional homes.
okay.
So it's it's both ways. We are using both languages, we are using at school, to- according to their understanding level.
All right. So how did you guys cope with the demands of this course, ENGU 1105? How was it for you? How was the experience so far? I think for me, it was kind of challenging at first. However, eventually I did prove in a little, it's been an eye-opening experience. And first, it did kind of feel like a struggle personally, but
For me, it was quite hard starting. So far, it's going smoothly, grooving into it, but it was kind of difficult starting the course.
yes, I agree.
Yeah, for me it was very difficult when I started the course. Well, now it's not too difficult. It's still difficult. Yeah. Struggling, with, but not to that extent. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm thankful for what I've learned. I would have learned a lot from the course. Um, what about your recommendations to the university? For me personally, I think that they should maybe have some more information on the different languages that we use here in Guyana, so we can be able to understand it more, and we maybe could even learn it as well, like maybe more of our Amerindian languages and so on, because you would only find most of the Amerindians speaking those languages and other persons don't know it, don't understand it. So maybe they should have some of these information accessible on Moodle, or maybe even have lecturers teaching us about it so that
Yeah,
we can
that's
also
true.
put it in school as well. So we don't just have to go and teach standard English to the children, because if we have Amerindian children or even other children speaking other languages coming, we don't just have to teach standard English alone or speak to them using only standard English. We can be able to use different languages or different dialects and so on.
Yes, I agree with you, Miss. Yeah, speaking of like the Ambrinians know the language. For me, I don't know my language or my dialect. I know, but then just one between. Then my wife is two, and she came from a Car background, which is another tribe, and she does know her languages. So yeah, I recommend that uh, the teachers they can put these dialect as one of the course so that we can join and learn and so on, so we can keep our tradition. That's what one of
Yes.
my recommendations.
Yes, because where I work in an Amerindian village as well. So I have a lot of children there that they know the language as well, but they don't use it. Maybe I would say it's dying away because of the language that we or what we use in school to teach them and so on. So that's the culture in a way dying there, I would say.
Yes, it's true.
Yes, I think so too, because when you go and most of the children coming, they don't all speak English. It would be nice if they incorporate some different language for us.
Yes.
Yeah, so yeah. Another thing, yeah, hearing the people speaking these different dialect, it sounds good. Yeah, really amazing. Like it just make you feel like you want to learn it so that you can also have a conversation with them. You feel really left out because I was in a village before I come to my home village. They speak the Waro language, and as I say, it's like kind of dying out because the children are not used to. But when I listen to the elders, they speak it. It sounds really good. Yeah, but and then you feel really left out when you're between.
Yes, true. All right, so it was nice talking to you guys. Um, anybody else has anything else that they would like to say before we go?
Sorry, you have any other recommendation you really think you can give based on the course?
Yes, we need more information about this English course that we are doing. To me, it's a bit challenging, like what you were saying more earlier.
Yes, I agree.
Um, I, I also recommend that I think we need, or the university should put these courses to be taught around in our regions or in our schools.
Yes, sir. All right. Well, it was really nice talking to you guys. I hope you have a great evening.
Yes,
You
Bye.
miss.
too.
Yes, same.
Bye.